What's going on, everyone? It's good to be back with you on the Tangent Podcast. This is Austin.
And this is Jack. How you guys doing today? I guess they can't
I'm
really
doing,
answer.
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm surviving the heat wave.
It is, oh, dude, I feel like every year I forget how hot it is in the summer. And then I just hate it for 3 months.
Yep, it's horrible. It is horrible.
Can't even do anything outside.
Yeah. But that's okay. We've got some good times and good fun horrible mysteries to talk to you guys about today.
I'm excited for this one. This one's been one that we've heard about a lot. But before we get into the mystery, what are we drinking today?
Oh, we're back at it with our Rainstorm Clean Energy peach nectarine flavor.
I'm anxious to try it in not a good way because I don't love the only peach things I like the flavor of are Peachios.
Ooh.
And
everybody likes a good Peachio.
Yeah, and sometimes peaches in real life, but I don't really love peach stuff.
So, I love peach stuff, but I'm not sure how nectarine-y I am, so we'll see about that part. Hopefully,
isn't it just like kind of the same thing as a peach?
Yeah, that's what I thought. But why don't we crack this bad boy open and see what she tastes like?
They are a type of peach. Okay.
It smells like Peachios, so that's good.
Yeah, it does.
All right, let's give this a taste.
Tastes like a Peachio. Ooh.
Whoa. It does taste like a Peachio.
That's really good.
It's like Peachio's cousin is what it tastes like. It's weird.
I like that.
I like the beginning and the after, but the middle's got like a weird tang to it. There's 3 stages to this taste.
The middle tastes like vitamins for sure.
Yeah, you're right.
The beginning you get the Peachio, middle you get the vitamin, and then the end you just get like a light Peachio. It's good.
I don't know which
like
part of that is nectarine. Maybe that's the middle part.
I'll give it like a 7.5. I think it's pretty good.
I'll go with the solid 7. Let's see.
I'd drink it again. It wouldn't be my first choice.
I don't know if I'd buy it again though.
Yeah.
But I mean, considering that it is, their clean version, 10 calories, 0 sugar, that's not bad at all.
I forget what the sweetener is. Oh, it's sucralose. Okay, I think we're gonna die if we drink that.
Is that wait, what?
I think sucralose is bad.
Aren't they all bad?
Probably, but
didn't they
are
just
they
say
worse?
Diet Coke causes cancer or something like that?
Did they really? I'm sure it does.
The what aspartame, I think, is what they said. They came out and said it might cause cancer or something like that.
I think aspartame's the super bad one, and then sucralose is also pretty bad.
Aspartame declared possible carcinogen by the World Health Organization. But, I don't...
Are they in California, though? Because everything's known to cause cancer there, so...
That's the first thing I thought when I saw this. I was like, it's just another California thing. But then I said World Health Organization, and I was like, oh.
What did I see? I saw, I can't remember what it was, but some random product the other day. It was, I'm trying to remember what it was, because it was the dumbest product that had the warning of this is known to cause cancer in the state of California. I'm like, this isn't a food.
Dude, I got you beat. I think my desk had that sticker on it when I bought it.
Your desk?
My desk.
What?
Something like that.
That's a new one. Yeah, it was something stupid I think it was like a computer mouse or something like that. Something weird. But everything causes cancer now. Hey, if everything causes cancer, then like you put that label on anything, and then the things that really do cause cancer, you're never going to be able to trace it back. So
let's move on a little bit. I don't think we even had space news prepared, but
I got some space news.
Oh,
for
you got space news? All right,
news
nice. We didn't talk about it, so I'm excited to hear this.
So Brian May, have you heard that name before? Brian May, does that ring a bell?
Brian May. No, I don't think so.
Brian May is the guitarist for the band Queen.
Oh.
But not just your regular old meathead musician rocker.
Right. Okay.
He also has a PhD in astronomy and is super smart.
For real? That's actually super cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's like a legit genius, and he is writing a book, or he's about to release a book. He didn't write it, obviously, but he's about to release a book of photographs of an asteroid that's close to the Earth. And these are all images that are gathered by the OSIRIS-REx spacecraft that it took these pictures back in 2020. It's a NASA spacecraft. And so, again, super smart guy. His most, like, his interest, or I guess specialization in astrophysics physics has been in what's called stereoscopic photography, which is photography that simulates the human eyes to how our eyes perceive space. And so he's basically gotten these photographs of this asteroid and is turning them into this cool book, because the regular human has never really seen an asteroid up close before. So they're basically mapping out this asteroid that's really close to the Earth, which is cool.
Very
and
interesting.
I thought it was cool because he's also a guitarist. So that's the first crossover space news we've had with a famous rock star.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, the book is set to be released, I believe. Let's see, in sometime this year. I'm trying to find an exact date. Also, apparently, this asteroid has a 1 in 1,800 chance of hitting the Earth in the next 100 years. That seems a little too.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, 1 in 18. Wait a second. That's actually like.
That's plausible. Let's see. So we did have a mission that briefly touched down on the asteroid, and when it touched down, it landed on like this super squishy surface on the asteroid, and it nearly swallowed the probe that like touched it. So that was kind of cool. And they brought back a sample, and it's set to be delivered this year in September. So whatever that was, but it was weird because it was squishy, they said. And it's pretty big. It's 1,722 feet wide. So that is a 525 meters for our friends across the pond. I'm trying to figure out what that is in yards, because I think in football fields, 574 yards, so almost 6 football fields wide. So it's pretty big. I mean, if that hit, that'd be pretty devastating. And yeah, so kind of fun. Later this year, that book is supposed to be released. So keep your eyes out for that.
Fun.
All right. Well, now we've gotten our space news. What are we talking about today?
We are talking about the Flannan Isles lighthouse disappearances. It's not a very catchy name. Or the Flannan Isle mystery is also what it's called. But the Flannan Isles are some islands on the outer. I don't even know what that word is. Hebrides?
The Hebrides? I don't know.
Hebrides or Western Isles. Sure, we'll go with that. The Western Isles of Scotland. And what this bad boy is a lighthouse that, you know what lighthouses do. They would keep they would light the shores and the area around the lighthouse to show nearby ships that passing by that, hey, look, you can see these rocks in this island here. Don't get too close, kind of thing, and help light the way. Just general navigation and safety. This is, I don't know. Have you seen the movie The Lighthouse by chance, Austin?
I have not seen the movie, but is this the one with all the Willem Dafoe memes?
Yes. I don't think it... Lighthouse. So it was in 2019, and it's Willem Dafoe and Batman. Vampire.
Pattinson.
Yeah, thank you. And that is the weirdest movie I've ever seen. Like, straight up.
Is it based on this event?
No. I think the idea was conceived for it after this event, kind of thing.
Okay.
Because the movie's about two lighthouse keepers that basically go insane, and I don't even remember what happens at the end. It's so weird. But I think I don't want to say for sure, but like I'd put money on the fact that the director like took a lot of inspiration from the Flannan Isles. So what do you know about the Flannan Isles? Do you know a lot or a little? What's your forte on this?
I know the basic premise of the story and like some of the kind of timeline of things that have happened, but I haven't like done super extensive research. I know basically the story that's out, like, well, we don't exactly know what happened, but I know
we don't.
what happened, right?
Okay, so the Flannan Isles Lighthouse it was built in 1899, and it is 75 feet or 23 meters. And basically, so in 1900, 1 year after it opened, this is a brand new spanking lighthouse, and it was opened up and ready for business. I don't know what the christened. I don't know what you want to. Mm-hmm. What do they christen lighthouses? Probably not. That'd be funny.
I don't know. What is christen? I know that you christen a new toilet in a house. I know that you christen a baby in the Catholic Church.
Isn't that when you get a bottle of champagne and smash it against the hull of the ship? Isn't that what that is?
Oh, probably. I don't know.
I thought. I don't know. I could have that wrong.
You're probably right. Toilets and babies. That's all I know.
Toilets and babies. That's a little disturbing.
That's all I know about christening, okay, in church.
So, in 1900, there were 3 people that were commissioned to look out or man the lighthouse, and this is James Ducat, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur, with a rotating 4th man spending time on shore. So everything seemed pretty good. This is brand new, right? Like everything's great, whatever. But the first record that something was abnormal was on the 15th of December of 1900, when the steamer, I believe it's pronounced Actor, if I remember correctly, spelt Archtor. Archter is kind of what it looks like, but I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Actor, Arctor, something like that. It was on a passage from Philadelphia to Leith. Noted that the log that the light was not operational in poor weather conditions, which is, kind of the entire point of the thing. So when the ship docked, when it finished its journey, the sighting was passed on to the Northern Lighthouse Board, which was the company that owned this lighthouse and operated it.
Sorry, it was a basically, yeah, they oversaw the lighthouse, but they were also in charge of all of the lighthouses in Scotland, and they were basically, if anything was going wrong at a lighthouse, you had to tell them, and they would investigate it and see that it was fixed.
Right. And Few days later, the news was passed to the Northern Lighthouse Board, who quickly dispatched a crew to investigate. The relief vessel arrived at the island on Boxing Day, and the captain... What is Boxing Day?
It's the day after Christmas. Over in England and the UK, they celebrate it. It was a day to shout out to my dad for this fact, because he told me this. He went on a mission to England, but Boxing Day is the day after Christmas, and it was the day where people would go and give gifts to the poor people and things like that. But then also a day when the servants would serve the family on Christmas Day. After Christmas Day, they would have basically their Christmas. So that's what Boxing Day was.
Fun fact for us all. Anyway, the relief vessel arrived on the island of Boxing Day. The captain, Jim Harvey, signaled with the ship's horn, and there was no reply. Did the horn, I think, twice, no reply, and then they had to fire a flare into the sky, maybe thinking they didn't hear it or something like that. Again, no reply.
So the weird thing with that is typically like it was tradition. So all of these people at the lighthouse at this time, so James Duquette, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur, even though the lighthouse is only a year old, they were all like veterans in the game, right? Like, they've been doing this for a long time, and it was custom and tradition that when a boat, especially a relief boat, would honk the horn, like the head keeper of the lighthouse would come down. Like, it was always known that you just went down and saw the boat when they got there. That was like the custom. And so it was like a pretty big red flag to them that no one came down. Like, it wasn't just a weird thing of like, oh, like, yeah, we honked it, but they just didn't come. It was like, no, we honked it. Why aren't they here? Like, they should be here right now.
Right. And I think if you're on the ship, you see that first you're told that the light on the lighthouse is out. So you go to investigate. And when you get there, it's still out. You're going, something's not right here. And then you honk the horn, fire a flare, and no one comes out to meet you. This is the point where they go, okay, something's bad. Something bad happened. Like, this is not normal. This would not be happening if everything was okay, kind of thing. So this is that tipping point, I guess. So a boat was launched, and Joseph Moore, the relief keeper, was put ashore, and he found the entrance gate to the compound and the main door were both closed, the beds unmade, and the clock unwound. Returning to the landing stage with this grim news, he then went back up to the lighthouse with the ship Hesperus' second mate and seaman. The further search revealed that the lamps had been cleaned and refilled. A set of oilskins were found, suggesting that one of the keepers had left the lighthouse without them. There was no sign of any keeper, neither inside the lighthouse nor anywhere on the island. So, going over that a little bit, it's a little weird. I don't understand. Like, first, let's see. The main door was closed. The gate was closed. Beds were unmade. I don't know if it's... Do you know if it's, like, required by the keepers to keep a clean and tidy space like their beds are supposed to be made? So is that weird that their beds were unmade, or...
So, in what I was reading about this, I read that, yeah, the beds weren't made, so I don't know if this was part of their morning routine, but some of the other chores that they had to do had been done. So the investigators did know that a lot of their morning chores, or like they had like a checklist of things they had to do every day. And I remember them saying that when they came in, there was a meal that had been made. And they said they didn't find any like fire going in the firebox. There wasn't any sign of a recent fire. So they thought that it had been a while since the meal had been made, but that most of the morning chores or that morning checklist had been done. So it doesn't seem like the beds would be part of that, but you never know. Maybe they were, and you just, I don't know. Some mornings I hate making my bed too. So
every morning.
But yeah, it was weird because a lot of the morning stuff was done, and so yeah, I don't know.
Do you know how long clocks lasted back then. Back then, I believe you had to wind clocks yourself, and after a while they would stop and you'd have to rewind it. And it says here the clock was unwound. I don't know how long those last, so
So in my research, the clock that they probably would have had, and in some kind of secondhand accounts from the investigators there, the clocks were supposed to have lasted a week. And so if we think that it's now December 26th, so the day after Christmas, it's been 11 days total since the actor passed and saw the light off. And
who knows how long before that even.
Right, because I mean they had to be refueled. You know, the lighthouses have to be refueled, and if I remember correctly, the light uses like a burning oil, and I don't remember how much time, but I don't know if the light has to if you can refuel the lighthouse like while it's going, or you have to turn it off, because at this time it was a burn. You know, you had to burn stuff, and so I don't know. At that point, when the light was off, maybe they were refueling it or something when the Arctur passed. But so it's been 11 days since the Arctur passed to Boxing Day now. They send this ship. And so they're obviously going with some like urgency, right? Like, oh man, this light's off. We got to go figure out. But there was some severe weather in the area, and that's why it took them until Boxing Day to get there. Mm-hmm. So remember, they noted that they couldn't see the light in the poor weather conditions. And so there was obviously a storm or something that blocked them from getting there for 11 days. But then they get there, they find a meal that's been made, but no sign of a fire. Most of the chores have been done. And I don't know what time of day they got there, but
I don't know that either.
Yeah. So then this clock that you mentioned would have supposedly, if they wound it, was supposed to last for a week. So that could indicate that it had last been a week since, or more, you know, at least a week. Since the clock had last been wound. One other thing I thought was weird, the oil skins that you mentioned. So that was like their coat, right? Their waterproof clothing. I thought that it was weird. So it was said that only one set was found. So 3 of the men.
Well, yeah, sorry, it goes into a little bit more depth here. Okay. It says that 2 of 3 oilskin coats were found hung in the entryway. Or sorry, 2 of the 3 hung in the entryway were missing. So yes, there was only 1 found. Mm-hmm. But there were 3 sets, meaning probably the other 2 were being worn by the people when they went missing.
Right. Well, what's weird to me is this is December, right? So oilskins weren't only their like waterproof clothing, but like their warm clothing too. So obviously they're on an island. They probably get storms a lot, rain, waves. They want waterproof clothing, but it's the middle of December too. So you want something to keep you warm.
Right.
And I can imagine that, like I lived, when I lived in Panama, I literally lived 20 feet from the ocean shore. And I lived in a hut, and it's hot there in the day, super hot. But at night, right next to the ocean, it got super cold. Like it'd get down into the 60s, but then you get that wind coming off the ocean, and it would you'd freeze. It was so cold. And so I can imagine Scotland in December on an island next to the ocean, all the wind and everything. Like, it's weird to me that 2 of the oilskins were gone and 1 wasn't, because that would indicate like you got to think, why is that oilskin still there? Did the person it belonged to, like, did he rush out to help the other 2, or like why were they able to get theirs if he wasn't able to get his, you know, or like did he purposefully leave it behind, or did he have to flee and just couldn't grab it? Like,
my guess is something happened. You know, they had to go fix something. They had to attend to something. And so 2 of them went out to do it while 1 stayed back and made sure everything was still working inside, whatever. And maybe something happened and they called for help, and it was so urgent that the guy just ran out. The 3rd one just not getting ready for the weather at all. That would be my guess, but I mean, who knows? Maybe he's one of those tough guys. It's 30 degrees outside and wearing shorts. Like, it's not cold out here. Like, I'm not cold. I'm sweating right now, actually.
He had his kilt on. He's fine.
All right, let's see. Next on the list. When he arrived, he discovered the lighthouse door was unlocked. 2 of the 3 oilskins hung in the entryway were missing. In the kitchen area, he found half-eaten food and an overturned chair that suggested someone had left in a hurry. Moore's research found nothing else in the lighthouse, so he returned to inform the captain, who had ordered an immediate search of the rest of the island. The search was ultimately fruitless, but they did find signs that the island had been hit by a massive storm. The supply box near the western landing platform had been smashed to pieces and its contents thrown across the ground, even though it was over 100 feet above sea level. Turf had been ripped up from the top of the cliff, iron railings had bent and deformed, a railway track was torn from its concrete moorings, and an enormous rock weighing more than 1 ton was missing. So, if it was a storm, that was one gnarly storm.
Yeah. I mean, waves are crazy, but 200 feet. So that turf, I saw that it was 200 feet up on the cliff and it had been ripped away.
Yeah, the Flannan Isles Lighthouse sits over 200 feet above sea level and is otherwise isolated on a sparse island. Yeah, and it's a big cliff, not like a gradual up. It's like 90-degree off a cliff, like 200 feet up. So
like 200 feet up, but then also about 30 feet in from the edge of the cliff. So like 200-foot wave, like if it's exactly the height of the cliff, it might like lap the grass right off the edge of the cliff, but it had to be way over 200 feet to get 30 feet inland off of that cliff, right? But then, yeah, like the iron railway and then the rock too. Did they say if they, like, did you read if they ever found that rock or was it just gone? Like,
all it says is the rock was missing. Let's see. I think it probably just fell into the ocean would be my guess.
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting turf out of the ground, the dirt's probably wet and then it just slides off or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's see. With no sign of the missing men, Harvey sent a telegram to the mainland. Harvey's the captain, which was passed back to the Northern Lighthouse Board in Edinburgh. It read, quote, "A dreadful accident has happened at Flannan's. The 3 keepers, Ducat, Marshall, and the Occasional, have disappeared from the island. On our arrival there this afternoon, no sign of life was seen on the island. Fired a rocket, but no response was made. Managed to land Moore, who went up to the station but found no keepers there. The clocks were stopped and other signs indicated that the accident must have happened about a week ago." Harvey concluded, "Poor fellows, they must have been blown over the cliffs or drowned trying to secure a crane or something like that." So it's a pretty big deal there. Like I don't know. It's like, I mean, yeah, storm makes the most sense, but also at the same time, a storm, like when we were just talking about it, 200 feet up, a freaking 1-ton rock, railings pulled out of concrete. That doesn't sound like a storm to me. That sounds like I don't know.
Kraken.
The apocalypse? Yeah, Kraken, something like that. Like, I don't know. Let's see.
I mean, some of those storms, you never know it.
I guess. I don't know. On December 29th, 1900, Robert Muirhead, a Northern Lighthouse Board superintendent, arrived to conduct the official investigation into the incident. Muirhead had originally recruited all 3 of the missing men and knew them personally. He examined the clothing left in the lighthouse and concluded that Ducat and Marshall had gone down to the western landing stage, and that MacArthur, the Occasional, had left the lighthouse during heavy rain in his shirt sleeves. He noted that whoever left the light last and unattended. Oh my gosh. We noted that whoever left the last light and unattended was in the breach of NLB rules. He also noted that some of the damage was to the West Landing was difficult to believe unless actually seen. He said in his report, "From evidence which I was able to procure, I satisfied that the men had been on duty up till dinner time on Saturday the 15th of December, that they had gone down to secure a box in which the mooring ropes, landing ropes, etc. were kept, and which was secured in a crevice in the rock about 110 feet above sea level, and that an extra large sea had rushed up the face of the rock, had gone above them, and coming down with immense force had swept them completely away." I mean, so the official story is a big wave took them away. But here's the thing, we have no idea. I mean, wouldn't have any other ship or anyone noticed, like, dang, there was a crazy storm around here like a few days ago, kind of thing? No one saw that, I guess.
So here's the weird thing is, so if we remember on the 11th of December, that's when the ship passed by and noticed that the actor passed by, noticed that the lighthouse was off. So then when they get and they do the investigation on the island after realizing these guys are gone, they realized that the logbook that the men kept, so they had to keep a very strict logbook of all their activities, the weather, things like that. They had kept the logs up until the 15th of December. And so there were 4 days in there that basically they knew they were alive, right? And so in that logbook, there were some strange entries in, was it Marshall, in his handwriting? And it said that the weather was the worst that he'd seen in over 20 years. He also said that MacArthur had been crying, all the men had been praying, and things like that. So, like, they recognize this bad weather, like this is horrible. But then they also, in the log, they listed the count of a lot of that damage that occurred. So they were able to theorize that all that damage occurred while the men were still alive, and they kind of witnessed that happening. And so that's the last day that the log was kept, was on the 15th. So then 11 days after that, the rescue crew gets there, and the final log entry, all it says on December 15th says, "Storm ended, sea calm, God is over all." So that's kind of weird.
It is worth noting, though, in my research into this, I also did find those log entries. It is highly debated if those are real or not.
Really? Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, some people say it's like, yeah, this is real or whatever. Some people say no, this was like added, in the big game of telephone kind of thing. So take that as you will, but still pretty crazy.
So are you saying they're debated on if those were actually in the logbook, or if they were in the logbook and they were forgeries? Like,
no, that they weren't even written down at all.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I think.
Somewhere in the story that popped up through somebody, but we don't know where. Okay.
Right. Is somebody retold the story and added that, and it just stuck onto it. That's what some people say.
But does that go along saying that the last day that the log was kept was December 15th as well? Because from everything I read, that was pretty well known that up until the 15th, they kept the log.
Not entirely sure.
Now I'm questioning that. Well, that could play into some of the theories maybe of how the men disappeared. So yeah, the official story is the big wave, right? If it was true that the log was kept, and MacArthur's saying that, or Marshall's saying this is the worst weather he's seen in over 20 years, and if he's on islands a lot in Scotland, like, he's gonna see some pretty rough weather, right? Like, I think this had to be really bad if some of them were like, this is the worst we've ever seen.
Here's a theory of the big wave thing. It says, in high seas or storms, water would rush into the cave and then explode out again with considerable force. A cave where the Geos,
Yeah.
the West Landing Geos. Anyway, so it was possible that MacArthur may have seen a series of large waves approaching the island, and knowing likely the danger to his colleagues, ran down to warn them, only to be washed away as well. So that like goes behind the, he ran out without grabbing his coat kind of thing, because it was that urgent kind of thing, even though it's like required by their rules that one person has to be tending the light at all times. It said that earlier, that he left knowing that it was a violation of rules, meaning it had to have been pretty serious.
Right.
Let's see. Recent research by James Love discovered that Marshall had previously been fined 5 shillings when his equipment was washed away during a huge gale. So it is likely, in seeking to avoid another fine, that he and Ducat tried to secure their equipment during the storm and were swept away as a result. The fate of MacArthur, although required to stay behind to man the lighthouse, can be guessed to be the same. So that's the, most believable answer. But there are some other theories, one of which is, what are they called? Mermaids that sing. Sirens. That is one theory, is that sirens lured them off the island and drowned them. A little less believable, but who knows?
So, yeah, that I don't know if I believe sirens, because you got to think like 3 grizzled men. I don't know much about sirens, but 3 grizzled men, like, it just seems weird to me that they'd be like enchanted and jump off this cliff into the ocean for a mermaid.
And they got magical powers, that's kind of the point. Another more believable theory is that MacArthur was apparently a volatile character, and them being on the lighthouse alone for that long may have led to a fight breaking out that either caused all 3 men to fall to their deaths on the landing, or that he killed the 2 people and knew that he was screwed and threw their bodies in the ocean and jumped in himself to avoid consequences. So a double murder suicide. But I don't know about that one, because I don't think they would, employ him out there if they thought that was a risk. And this wasn't their first rodeo kind of thing. They've all done this multiple times. And I think if they would have had issues with him before, they maybe wouldn't. But I don't know. It does say he was a volatile character. Maybe he's the only one that would do it. Something like that. So there's another theory that...
You also got to think, like, have you ever had a really bad roommate or something that you just don't get along with or hate? Like, these guys had been out there for a while, just the 3 of them, with no other human contact. Like, I'm sure there was a lot of tension between the 3 at times, especially with such like a high risk job, like a stressful job. And so I don't think it's out of a reasonable thought that somebody could just snap, right? Or like go crazy. One, you've got like the social aspect of going crazy out there by yourselves. You got no other contact and you're just working all the time. I'm sure you're tired and just lonely. And then 2, like, you're probably sick of each other. So yeah, I think it could be easily theorized that one of them could have just completely snapped.
Go watch the Lighthouse, and that one will make a lot more sense to you. All right, you ready to? I'm gonna speed round some more theories. You ready for these?
Yep.
The keepers were lost at sea. Obviously, we already talked about that one. The keepers were lured to their deaths by phantoms of the seven hunters. I believe that goes hand in hand with like the sirens kind of thing. A paranormal thing lured them to their death. I don't know what the phantoms of the seven hunters are.
Well, the seven hunters are the Flannan Isles. It was another name for the islands themselves. I don't know exactly why they were called the seven hunters, but maybe it was because of how many ships had crashed there. But yeah, that's what the name's for.
Wait, where did there we go. Next, the keepers were left the island by boat to escape debts. That's an interesting one. Maybe they were, had bad lives, were in huge amount of debts. They basically faked their deaths and rode away somewhere else and had new identities. You got anything on that one?
That one, like it is weird that they never found much evidence of like a fight. The only thing they ever found was like a chair that was tipped over. So the fact that they never found any evidence of a fight or somebody murdering people or of them dying there on the island, like to me shows obviously the bodies aren't there anymore. And so if the storm did calm down enough for people to come relieve them, then it would have been calm enough for them to leave too. So yeah, that could be very likely.
They maybe staged everything else.
Yeah, they could have easily staged like.
Well, I don't know how you can. How can you stage pulling railings out of concrete and pushing a 1-ton rock off the cliff?
Now that I think was legit because there obviously was severe weather. But maybe they saw that as their opportunity of like, oh, people are going to think we died. We could just easily leave. So they use that as their cover. But then again, if they faked the log entries too, I mean, who knows if those are real or not. But then they did say the storm was gone. So I don't know. I think that's a likely one. I think that and the wave are the two most likely to me. Because like not only if you're escaping, not only are you like escaping a debt, like you said, or something, but you're just like getting out of your crappy job. What if they just hated it? Like, we'll all just fake our deaths and go. Like, yeah, I think those are the two most likely. They're the two most, like, the natural wave one is obviously the most plausible with the weather and everything. But yeah, all the other theories are kind of outlandish, like aliens or whatever.
Yeah, there's the keepers were spirited away by a ghost ship. And this one's my personal favorite. The keepers were carried away by a giant seabird.
Ooh.
That's got to be it. And then the last one is keepers were abducted by foreign spies.
That one I've heard too, and it sounds weird because like, why would they want lighthouse keepers? I don't like. Was there anything with that theory where they said why they were abducted by spies?
Not that I found in just finding theories. I didn't really look into that one. I can see really quick. Maybe.
I mean, I'd heard that one. I just wasn't able to find any.
Yeah, why? I don't know why.
Behind it.
Also, have you seen a photo of these men?
Yes.
They have the most magnificent mustaches I've ever seen in my life.
Look up any picture from 1900, and the facial hair is just—it's pretty good. Like, but yeah, those guys do.
I can't find anything on it, so I couldn't tell you.
I'm wondering like why they would want lighthouse keepers unless they wanted to take over the lighthouse so that they could lead ships astray or something. I don't know, but dude, that guy in the middle,
who knows?
His mustache is like, it looks like a broom head.
It really does. Looks like somebody's toupee flew onto his face.
Yeah. It does.
But
Aliens are another fun one that they got abducted by some aliens, which
aliens are always an option for any mystery. You can always just say aliens and. But let's see.
I mean, this one is easy for me to get behind that, like they were just swept out to sea by the weather. I want to believe something outlandish, but it doesn't seem that crazy to me. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Like, what's your theory that you actually think is the most plausible?
I mean, it's got to be the storm. The thing is, like, I don't know. That seems like quite the storm to do all those things. But then again, what else could cause all that stuff? You know, the turf being ripped up, the supply boxes being smashed, the railing being torn out of the concrete, kind of thing. Like, yeah, storm in my mind is like, man, that would have to be quite the storm. But like, there's no other option.
Yeah, I mean, so to be fair, you talked about like the geo on the island. So
yeah, the little cave
geo,
thing.
yeah, it's like basically an inlet in a cliff, right? You see them, like if you look up Scotland scenery on Google, you're gonna see where basically just where it juts in sharply from a cliff, and so the water in there can funnel super hard and just shoot up. And so
like a geyser kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of like a geyser, but that shape, it just naturally like rockets the water up. And so you get a couple of those. And I mean, if it was right by like a geo that the turf was washed away and everything, I could definitely see that. Like a 200-foot plus wave, I'm a little more skeptical about. But you never know. I mean, these are 20 miles off the shore of mainland Scotland, so they're out there. Like, they're definitely out there.
Yeah, but 20 miles, I don't think that's enough to be like completely oblivious to a storm of this magnitude happening.
Yeah.
Like I just can't believe that in these reports it doesn't say we think it was the storm that happened last week at about, you know, this time where we think it happened and was a massive storm. It must have been even worse over there, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
so I did read somewhere, and I've been trying to look it up and I can't find it, but the nearest other human to them at the time was 18 miles away. And in their logs, they also claimed that they were at a lighthouse too, but in their logs, they also claimed that there was pretty severe weather. So it wasn't just like a localized thing there. Like, it was a huge, massive storm. And if the log entries are true, it was the worst storm they'd seen in 20 years, right? So I think you're right. I've seen waves. I've been in a boat with like 60-foot waves before, and those are high, but it's like, it's not the craziest wave I've ever seen, like in a movie or something. Like, I've seen bigger than that. You know, like even surf waves are like, how big are surf waves? Let's see. Surf waves are oh, it says 1 to 2 feet. Oh, that's for beginners. But like you see in a movie, the wave like with a pipeline in it, like in Hawaii, those waves are huge, right? Like, I'd say I would guess like 10 to 20 feet tall, but like a breaking wave. And so, I mean, to think that it's 10 times bigger than that, like in a massive storm. Plus, I think the structure of the islands encourages waves like that to happen, like you see all the time. The reason that tsunamis get so big is because they hit like a reef or something, and then it causes the water to shoot up, basically, right? And so, I mean, in that area, if the stars align and you just get a freak weather incident, it could happen. But I think the geos had more to do with it than like an actual massive wave. I don't know.
For context, or comparison, I mean, it looks like to be considered big wave surfing, it has to be at least 20 feet high.
Okay.
And that the largest wave ever surfed was 86 feet high.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
so
dude.
Really big, but still, that's not even half of what this wave supposedly was. Okay, and here's my other problem with the, you know, being swept off into the sea kind of thing, wouldn't have at least something washed to shore kind of thing, like a coat, body, a shoe, a necklace, a hat, something.
You would think. Yeah, you would.
I guess if it did take him a week to get there, it's very possible that it went away. But I mean,
they are 20 miles out too. If it got stuck in a current in the ocean and it's just getting like thrown around. That's fair.
I guess this isn't like a beach. This is an isle, so there's not really like a. Yeah, it could be going any direction, not just towards the thing. I don't know.
I think of the Malaysian Airlines flight. They didn't find much from that, and they theorized that it got caught in the ocean. They did find stuff,
but I think they planted that.
Yeah, and what they did find was like super far away in a current, right? Like
it was in Africa. No, South America.
It was somewhere over there. Yeah, I think Madagascar or something, right?
Yeah, it's Madagascar. That's right, South Africa area.
But like imagine in 1900, if you find a shoe and you're over in the United States and you find this random shoe, you don't know about this disappearance in Scotland. Like there probably was stuff, but they were never able to tie it at the time to this disappearance. You know, it's like, oh, just a random shoe. But the bodies, you'd think that they'd wash up on shore or some, yeah, like you said, some identifying item, but nothing was ever found.
Jeez. Wow. All right. I was just curious how big tsunamis are.
Mm-hmm.
It says usually about 100 feet.
Oh my gosh. So this is a legit tsunami.
Again, like twice the size of a tsunami.
Holy cow.
Oh, wow. Unless it was the St. Helens mega tsunami in 1980. That was apparently 200 meters.
Isn't that like a lot of feet?
Wait. That's a ton of 600 something, yeah.
Yeah. Dang.
Okay, so they can get big. Never mind. They can get real big. Who knows what happened to them? And I'm guessing we never will. As is the case with most of the things we talk about, which is really unfortunate. Probably
not. Yeah, I think it was the wave. That's my theory. And if it wasn't the wave, it was 100% aliens.
Occam's razor. Is that what's happening here? Do you know what Occam's razor is?
Isn't that like whatever bad happens? Oh no, that's Murphy's Law.
Occam's razor is basically the simplest answer is usually the correct answer.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
let's see. The simplest explanation is preferable to one that is more complex.
So to me, like everything points to it being like an emergency. So they woke up, they got some of their chores done. They had food going, and two of the guys probably went out to do something. So they took their coats. The third guy's in there cleaning up or doing breakfast or whatever. And he looks out the window and sees, oh crap, my friends are in trouble. Let me run out and help them. Then they all die. That's my thought. And like you said, it's the simplest.
That's gotta be what it is. Yeah. I mean, it's not the most exciting mystery, but it is interesting. Very interesting.
Any last thoughts that you have on this one?
Don't be a lighthouse keeper.
Well, they're now all automated, so that job is said and done.
That's fair. Don't go out on an island in the middle of should be one of the most insane storms in history.
Here's the thing. Don't ever go near the ocean, because that's where the aliens have their secret bases. And that's where the giant 200-foot freak waves come and will sweep you into the sea. So live in a state like Utah that's far away from the ocean. And never go to the ocean.
Awesome. Well, that wraps it up for the old Flannan Isles mystery.
Thanks for listening, y'all.
Yeah, I highly recommend if you enjoy the story of lighthouse keepers and mystery and stuff like that, to check out the movie The Lighthouse. It is mind-bogglingly weird, but it's still an enjoyable movie, I think. Still trying to make up my mind on that one.
I've been looking at pictures and it looks weird. I don't know
It's
if I want
super
to watch
weird.
it.
It's black and white. I don't know if that deters some people. Very well done, though. I will say that Willem Dafoe freaking kills that part. There's one part where he goes on like a drunken ramble for like 5 straight minutes. They said they did it in one take, and it was incredible. But
He's a weird dude.
Oh yeah. And let us know what else you guys want to hear. I'm debating. Ooh, I don't know about this. I had an idea, Austin. Do we want to? Well, I guess that would basically be like I was thinking about like, what if we made like a small website where people could like submit suggestions, and also like when we post something, you can like comment on it and have like a conversation about said episode with other people who have listened to it.
I like that.
I like that too, and I'm trying to actually sharpen my IT skills resume, so I might do that just for fun.
Nice.
Like to but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that, and also what else you want to hear. But you got anything else to close us out, or?
Thanks for tuning in. We're sorry it's been a while. We will be back hopefully with the weekly content. And yeah, let us know what you want to hear. We appreciate the support. Shout out to our less than 1% listeners in Honduras who made us number 8 on the Apple Podcast True Crime genre in Honduras. We love you guys too.
That's the most.
Yeah,
we got number 8 in Apple Podcasts True Crime subgenre in Honduras. Like I don't think that's I don't think you get any more niche than that.
No, we have cracked. Have you ever heard another show make that claim before? Not even Rogan. I don't even know if Rogan could say that.
I don't think he can. I think we got him beat there.
Yep. So you guys made it happen, and
let's see number 7, Honduras. Yep. Let's go.
Let's see number 8 in the US too. We would love that. But thanks for the support.
That'd be incredible.
And we love you guys. Again, reach out with ideas, and we hope you have a great day.